Hi, everyone, and welcome to the AwardsWatch Oscar podcast. I'm your host, Eric Anderson. This is podcast number 27, and I have a very, very special guest today. The author of The $11 Billion Year from Sundance to the Oscars, an inside look at changing the Hollywood system, and Thompson on Hollywood at IndieWire, Miss Anne Thompson. Hello, Anne.
Hey, Eric. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this. I'm a really big fan and I'm really honored, so I'm really happy to have you on. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And actually I wanted to mention you just got back from the Sarajevo Film Festival, correct?
Right.
And
I was just posting my pictures on Facebook.
Yes, I saw that and I followed that and the timing was really interesting for that because the Oscar submission from Bosnia and Herzegovina, Our Everyday Life, just got announced, and so I didn't know if you had a chance to see that or what your thoughts.
No, I wish they'd told me.
Yeah,
I don't remember. That wasn't one of the ones that I was flagging to look at. I saw that had been submitted, but unfortunately, I did not see it.
What did you see that really sparked your interest, just
personally?
Well,
I think it Brazil may pick The Second Mother. That was the opening night film from Anna Moylart, which is sort of a very good take on a woman who's a domestic and her daughter comes to stay and sort of uproots everything. It was really good, and it's opening soon, so we'll see. And then I also caught up with Embrace of the Serpent, which might be a candidate for inclusion from Colombia, which is a beautiful black and white explorers on the Amazon movie, very mystical. And I caught up with some things like 45 Years, which I think is a huge contender for the Oscar. I actually think that could really play for the Academy.
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot, definitely at AwardsWatch, and it's hitting so many festivals. It's really kind of doing a great job. It had Berlin, it's got Toronto, it's got Chicago coming up too. So it's hitting some majors and really could find itself this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be curious to see how it. I think it'll play well in Toronto. Sundance Selects is the distributor in the U.S. and you never it does. Who releases it and who markets it? I think Cynthia Swartz is on it, so it could make a dent.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because when that bit of information was revealed, people's predictions went, "Oh, okay, wait a minute, I think I have a fifth spot for Charlotte Rampling here." So it's.
But a lot of people haven't seen it yet. So I mean, I was looking, for example, at the Gold Derby selections and everything, and I was like, "Come on, people! I'm the one who's the idiot who's in there only voting for the movies I've actually seen. So I've 45 years, so I know what those performances are, and I can gauge, what the Academy might actually think about that movie. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we can guess about The Revenant or any number of other movies that we have high expectations for, but I'm not voting for anything until I see it.
I know, it's the classic Anne Thompson style. Well, you should come over to AwardsWatch and maybe take a peek at ours too, and see. I think they're a little bit different from Gold Derby's group. I know there's some different category placements and things. They just posted stuff. Yeah, I mean,
did you look at it at all, the Gold Derby? Because it's sort of interesting what they're excited about and what they're not. It is entirely predictable.
There seems like a push for Black Mass of all things right now,
which I'm not that high on. I saw footage in CinemaCon and Comic-Con. I looked at the footage, and it's really. I like the director very much. He delivered with Jeff Bridges with Love Crazy. What's it called? I'm having a moment.
Crazy Heart.
Crazy Heart. Thank you. He's a good director, but I Johnny Depp is someone you have to check out on an individual basis, whether the tone, whether it's over the top, whether he's believable. He's got these weird eyes and a lot of makeup going on. So I'm holding my judgment until I see it.
I am too. There's something about his makeup that's coming off pretty hammy, and he's also coming off such a string of so many bombs and flops, and a lot of those had really hammy performances and makeup too. And this just seems to have like a slap of prestige on it versus something like Mordecai or whatever.
No, he's going for it. Obviously, we'll see how he does. This is one of those things where the festivals are going to make or break the movie. We'll see. You know.
Yeah, and that's got Toronto and Venice coming up for him, which has to be at least a certain amount of vote of confidence from Warner Brothers right now, I think.
Definitely, no. But they may be gauging the movie and saying this is the kind of movie, a drama, you know, and they're playing with the star too. I mean, this is clearly something that he wants, so they're going to give him the kind of birth and launch. Now they were willing to go with Inherent Vice last year. You know, they were willing to go for some of these relatively artful movies. We'll see, you know, how far they get.
I'm really curious, and it's one of the most fun things about the festivals is that it does kind of help us really separate the wheat from the chaff a little bit.
Exactly. It's very much of a winnowing process, and starting with Telluride in Venice, and you know, I'll be curious to see, for example, how Everest goes over. Now that looks like a big mainstream, you know, thrilling mountain climbing entertainment, you know, but it's got a great cast. I like the director, Baltasar Kammerker, very much. He's from Iceland, and he's good at action, but he's also good at drama. So I'm really curious to see if that rises to another level with Jason Clarke and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that too in a major way, and anybody that knows me knows my affection for Jake Gyllenhaal, and I always hope that, you know, he's got, you know, a great year, a great movie, a great everything ahead of him.
But you know, I was looking up some of the movies that, you know, I was working on my Gold Derby thing, so I had to look at the movies that I've actually seen, right? So I looked at Southpaw, and its reviews are so bad, you know, that I just can't, even though he's great in it, he's always good, but he's really good in it. He does a great job and transforms himself physically. I just don't think that the Academy is going to go for a movie that got reviews of that level, of that caliber.
You know, it's really difficult, and, you know, he's in the reviews, they're almost uniformly, he's really great, but the movie's really, you know, formulaic and terrible. And I think in order for him to have been able to overcome that, the movie would have had to have been just a massive hit.
Exactly.
But it wasn't, so it's just not in the game.
And they you know, if Weinstein released it in the summer, they knew what they were doing. They knew that was probably the best shot they had for some decent box office, that it wouldn't stand up in a fall festival context. So they gave it the best shot they could.
Yeah, that, and also Creed is opening in November, so distancing a little bit of, you know, the boxing movies.
That looks promising.
I think so too. I really do.
It looks fantastic to me. Yeah. And the response to the trailer online has been universally high. So I can't wait to see that one. There's something, what I like about it is that it feels organic. It feels like it grows out of the original Rocky, the original story. And to let Stallone play this sort of Burgess Meredith coach role, the aging guy who can help the younger player, played by Michael Jordan, who's the child of Apollo Creed. I mean, it's just great. It's a great premise.
I agree. I think the concept and the setup is really good. I think it was really smart for Stallone to move into that role instead of stop trying to continue to remake Rocky. So,
But people forget that the original Rocky, I happened to be, in my youth, I keep sort of revealing these things piecemeal. When my very, very first job out of NYU Cinema Studies was at the publicity department of United Artists. And I'll never forget literally my first day on the job as an assistant in the publicity department. I was called into the head of marketing's office to look at some poster treatments for this movie they were going to open in the fall called Rocky. And no one knew who Sylvester Stallone was except the people in the building at United Artists. And he would wander the halls and people would really react to him. He was a writer-director, a writer-actor. That was what people forgot, I mean, Avildsen directed it, but so it really came from a very gritty indie place to begin with, that first Oscar-winning movie.
Yeah, for all of the crap it gets heaped, for beating a network, I think that's a really good point to
well, it became a franchise, but it's good to remember Stallone certainly remembers the roots of that franchise. Anyway, so you wanted to look at like some of the movies from each studio? Is that what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to chat a little bit about the festivals and what we think might be able to really break through and what might just kind of flop. But something. Mike D'Angelo a couple of weeks ago or last week made a tweet that was really kind of interesting. He said of 28 films in New York Film Festival's main slate, 23 are either big studio films or premiered at Cannes earlier. Vote of no confidence in entire fall. And I'm just curious why
does he say why does he say that?
I think what he's trying to say is that it feels like it's less adventurous maybe than it should be.
They always rely on Cannes at the New York Film Festival. I mean, it's always the mainstay of their slate. What's sort of weird about New York is they've got these 25 movies that they and they have the 3 galas, that are big sort of mainstream world premiere type movies. And so, of course, we have The Walk, which may or may not be an award kind of movie. We'll find out. I mean, it gives prestige and it gives a sort of, I'm going to try for it kind of feel to a Bob Zemeckis movie starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt with a heavy French accent. Which
yes. I love his accent in that.
We'll see. Either you go with it and you become immersed in the movie and it all is fine because he's a beautiful athletic actor. I love him, but we will see. And then so that could go mainstream or not. And then the closing night, there's some speculation about what Sony Pictures Classics will do with Miles Ahead because that got picked up after it was booked as the closing night, and they're saying it's opening in 2016. Now, they may qualify it, but I think they're really trying to figure out what they want to do.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, this is like one of the main things that I wanted to chat about is this movie and Sony and information and confirmation. I know we went a little bit back and forth, a group of us on Twitter yesterday about this. And it is a really curious situation of what's going on with Miles Ahead because it seemed like I Saw the Light was going to be a pretty easy number 1 for them, and
that's an acting vehicle, though. I would say
it is.
We like Tom Hiddleston. He's a very good actor, and he's capable. He seems odd casting for such an iconic American musical role, Hank Williams. But I'm sure he's capable of pulling it out. We just haven't seen him do. Have we? Have we seen him do a real American role?
He was F. Scott Fitzgerald in
briefly. Yeah, yes.
Briefly.
But he's a patrician. He's an East Coaster with pretensions.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was a risky choice to have him, but visually kind of looks like him. But we haven't anything to go off of yet. But I mean, yeah, it's competing with the same 2 acting nominations, Miles Ahead and I Saw the Light. But what I'm curious about, because both you and Tom O'Neill posted that you had heard directly from the Sony Pictures Classics presidents about the release. And
well, they haven't answered the qualifying question.
No,
they say, I mean, I've asked it, believe me. They say it's opening, and it's one thing to say it's going to open in 2016, which is normal. But a lot of movies, here's the thing about this year. If you look at the calendar, the December 25th date is hugely overcrowded, more than I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's
if some
absurd
of those
right now.
Movies are in limited. It's an amazing number of movies to all be opening. Hateful Eight or The Revenant or
Joy.
I mean, there's so many, and you could do one of those December 31st things and say it's really eligible, but they haven't said that yet.
Yeah, I think some of us feel like it might get like a Still Alice, where it has that 1 week at the beginning of December and then, held off until January.
Perfectly possible.
Totally possible.
Yeah, and I wouldn't if I were them, I wouldn't throw away the New York Film Festival. That's assuming that it goes well at the New York Film Festival.
Yeah, obviously it does, and the word from them was so just overflowing with praise that, I mean, it really got people excited.
No question, and it sounds fantastic, and it's the sort of thing very much inside the Academy soft spot. It should play for them. I guess the question would be: it sounds a little bit narratively ambitious in terms of how the story is being told in a kind of flashback scenario. So and he's a filmmaker who hasn't been proven. Cheadle. So we have to see if he pulls this out, whether it's just a performance or whether it's a whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, going outside of the acting, nominations into the, sound and maybe some cool tech categories. But I like the premise that it's only a couple of days worth of time and then filled in with flashbacks. I think it's a good idea, to try and turn the biopic on its head a little bit and not necessarily have to make it a birth to death situation where you can't possibly cover, an entire person's life in 2 hours. Especially
someone like Miles Davis, indeed.
Yeah. So
indeed, and we don't know how musical it's going to be, or but I mean, Ewan McGregor playing like this Rolling Stone reporter, and the other casting just looks fabulous too.
We are so excited for Emi Otsukarinaldi, like so excited.
Congratulations for pronouncing her name so well.
Well,
that's like a Kavenjane Wallace thing where we got to do our little memorization thing and get it down.
It is, and I hope she's nominated just so that we can see who's going to have to announce it on Oscar nomination morning, because that's always fun. We really like
Cheryl Boone Isaacs, you are on.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, the Sony Pictures Classics thing. I mean, they have a lot of other stuff too. They have Youth. I mean, excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong thing. They have Truth. Which is again another question mark. Even though Cate Blanchett could be, even if Tarantino doesn't like her
arty movies.
Yes, as far as her Academy profile is concerned, I'm still looking forward to seeing her as Mary Mapes.
I definitely am too, but it's a weird situation since Carol is obviously her vehicle. That, I mean.
They're putting Rooney Mara in as supporting, even though she won Toronto Best Actress. But there's a lot of that going on this year. A lot of
category fraud
tampering.
Is the greatest thing ever.
I mean, to put what they're doing is to put John Cusack for Love and Mercy, and to put Jesse Eisenberg for End of the Tour in Best Actor, in order to favor the supporting actor who will actually get nominated, Jason Segel and Paul Dano. It just makes me crazy.
It does, but at the same time, the strategists from, each of these studios they're looking at their history too. At the last time that two, lead actors got in, and the last time that two lead actresses got in, and that it's an obstacle to overcome. And it's easier to get, like two supportings from the same film than it is to get two leads. So, I mean, they're playing with the best cards that they have. But it doesn't mean that there isn't just cheating going on everywhere.
It's not cheating as much as it is, sort of, what's the word? I mean, it's manipulating. It fascinates. I mean, it doesn't always work. I mean, yeah. Kate Winslet ended up in Best Actress for The Reader. So, it doesn't always work.
Oh, there are plenty of times. Benicio del Toro, Jennifer Connelly, Keisha Castle-Hughes, all had a different category at Screen Actors Guild than they ended up at the Oscars. So that's the difference too, though, between an area that you have to submit into a category versus being voted into one.
Right.
So but I have to imagine by that time you better have it pretty much under your belt and ready to go. Sort of similar on that track is Focus Features, I think, because they have The Danish Girl and Suffragette. And I think a lot of people are up in the air about where Alicia Vikander is going to end up going. I know Tom
supporting, I thought.
I think she's going to be lead, and
Why do you think that?
Based on what we understand of her character in the book and amount of screen time and point of view.
All I can tell you is that we had our Oscar lunch last week, the IndieWire Oscar lunch, and I'm pretty sure I was given the idea that it was probably going to end up in the supporting category.
I'm a little dubious. I know it's a traditional role for an actress that's like a dutiful wife to end up in supporting, even if she's a co-lead. But I think something like Felicity Jones this year really kind of helped establish that
that had to be a two-hander. That was about their relationship.
Yes.
That had to happen, and she deserved to be in the Best Actress category. Well, we'll see. I mean, what I'm hearing is that Suffragette may end up being more of an acting vehicle than a major Best Picture contender. And so I think Focus is going to put a lot of energy into Carey Mulligan for lead. And then obviously we know that Searchlight will put some energy into Carey Mulligan for lead for Far From the Madding Crowd, too, which ended up being more of a success than you might have thought. It wasn't a critical success, but she got good reviews. Yeah. But it was a box office success.
Yeah, and for something that came
modest.
Something that came out when it did, which was like May, was a pretty clever. Well, Fox Searchlight also has Saoirse Ronan as a potential lead candidate.
Did you see Brooklyn? Because I still haven't seen it yet.
I did, actually. I just saw it.
Yeah, I have a screening this week.
Personally, I thought it was kind of... I thought it was boring.
In a word.
In a word. And I feel bad because it was... it's so gorgeous. The production is just flawless. Absolutely flawless. But I never felt that her situation had enough urgency to it. And as nice as her performance was, it was, I think, just maybe a little bit too understated. As the rest of the film is. The film is so quiet and tentative. So I'm
well, I've liked
curious.
John Crowley's direction, and I'm curious to see it. I will find out shortly. I think that even though it didn't get a lot of attention at Cannes, I think that Sorrentino's youth will well in the awards quarter. We'll see how it plays at the festivals, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good Academy picture, and Michael Caine is so great, and we'll see how people feel about Harvey Keitel and Jane Fonda, but they could be in the running too, but I'm pretty positive about Michael Caine.
Yeah, that's the general feeling at AwardsWatch too, is that youth is probably their number one, and it has the potential to be not only a huge breakout for Sorrentino, but just something that will speak to such a huge population within AMPAS.
But it's such a break, a step ahead from his last English language one with Sean Penn, which really didn't. This must be the place. This really didn't work. So
yeah.
He really nailed it this time. I don't think. Now they're also putting out Sicario, which I confess I will have to watch again because I saw it at Cannes and I was tired, and I'm afraid I didn't quite see every single frame of that movie.
Well, Sicario is Lionsgate.
I think of why, it's interesting. I have Denis Villeneuve in my mind, and for some reason I put it over there. But it's Roadside, right? Too as well.
I think
pretty sure.
Let's see, Sea of Trees. On my list, I only listed as Lionsgate as the main distributor.
Well, we'll see. But it is still, that's more of a Lionsgate movie. That's more of a mainstream movie. Yeah. And I think it's a thriller. I'm pretty and even as good as Emily Blunt is in it, it doesn't become her story. It becomes the story of the guys. And I did hear some people talking about maybe they could mount something for Benicio del Toro for supporting, which I don't think that's an impossibility. He's very good.
Yeah, actually. He was in our top 5 for a couple of months this early summer, but kind of has fallen out. It's interesting that this is opening the same day as Black Mass too. It's going to be a bit of a competition for a similar crowd there, I think. But Black Mass should be able to pull in more of an audience, I think.
Actually, I think Sicario is very commercial. It's extremely thrilling and intense and visceral. It's a border drama. I mean, I guess my question about I have more confidence in Sicario doing well at the box office and even getting good reviews than I do in its actual Academy validity, because I just think it's much more of a genre thriller than something that rises to another level.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's a little too genre, then I can see that.
Exactly.
Let's chat just for a sec about Warner Brothers, since we're kind of just keep peppering Black Mass in here, because they also have Our Brand is Crisis, which kind of was just in the ether, and we were wondering, is this happening this year? Is it getting next year? And then it was all of a sudden, bam! Here we go. We're going to Toronto. And
suddenly it was in the conversation. I agree. It popped in, and I believe that role looks so juicy for Sandra Bullock.
Yep.
And for her to be going toe-to-toe with Billy Bob Thornton, and he's looking at her vulnerabilities, and he's trying to get her, and all of that, I think there's a possibility. Now, admittedly, David Gordon Green has not been in Oscar territory, but he's a very good director, and it does sound at least as though she's got an actress-y kind of role.
Yeah, definitely. And the history of the part, being originally for George Clooney and then getting rewritten for her is not going to hurt her at all. It's going to be great. We had been looking at Billy Bob Thornton early in the year when there was no real information on it. And we're kind of looking to Joaquin de Almeida now as the supporting contender, because he has the bigger, juicier part.
So wouldn't Billy Bob be supporting also?
Yes, they both would end up in.
Well, he's a great actor. I've always liked him, but we'd have to see the movie in order to make that determination.
Definitely. So, well, what do you think about The Martian, though? I mean, it looks super exciting. It's a great trailer. I love what they're doing with it.
One of the things I'm picking up on with The Martian, which is an interesting aspect of it, is how popular the book is. I mean, it's such a big bestseller, and lots of people have read it and liked it. And if the movie can engender that kind of feeling, people do love Matt Damon, even if it looks a little familiar. Matt Damon is an astronaut, in Interstellar or something. But it's a great plot. It's a great story. Ridley Scott is a great spectacle director. He can certainly pull it out. So it's just a question of whether there's enough there, to make it rise to the next level.
Yeah. And you know what? We totally goofed this. The Martian isn't Warner Brothers. It's 20th Century Fox.
There you go.
Which makes that makes it even more difficult because they have Joy and The Revenant.
They've got The Revenant and they've got Joy. Yeah. Well, they're gonna. I mean, if they're putting The Martian into festivals, then they're gonna be playing the game.
Yeah, it certainly benefits that movie by being at Toronto and coming out in early October. So it'll have the lead on all of that. And it's funny, it continues to be funny to me that we get this glut of December releases, even though there hasn't been a Best Picture winner since $1 Million Baby in December. So
the new math appears to be that you're better off getting your ducks lined up and getting going earlier now. That used to be true, that you could. Clint Eastwood gets away with murder. He can get away with stuff, because he knows that everyone's going to see the movie. He usually has big stars. He usually, American Sniper is a perfect example of a late breaking kind of, no question the Academy took that seriously.
Yeah.
But you have it is still dangerous to come in too late.
It definitely is, and the last 3 Best Picture winners were all October releases, and there are a lot of major movies coming out in October, and they clearly are thinking about that and what that path is. Bridge of Spies and Steve Jobs.
Well, Bridge of Spies is another one that definitely came into the conversation because it was booked in festivals, and I think that Spielberg doesn't always take the festival route, although he did show Lincoln as a work in progress and everything. But he's really looking in late in his career, I think, for a certain kind of validation that the awards can bring. And I'm curious to see again whether this is Munich or is it something more? Is it something that that rises to another level? These are the questions. I keep saying the same thing, but that's what has to happen. It has to be that. It has to have that sort of wow factor. There's nothing granted. Just because Spielberg directed it, it could still end up being a mainstream, entertainment.
And I'm curious about that too, because it looks beautiful. It also looks like it could be just very, very middle of the road. But
you never know with him.
The Cold War era is a really, really great and hot time for entertainment right now, and
it's more timely than ever with Putin up to his old tricks. So we'll see.
Exactly.
And I love the casting. I love Mark Rylance and Tom Hanks going.
I do too.
And
Amy Ryan, and I hope she has a little more to do than what's in the trailer because I really like her too. So.
Well, the only thing I was going to say is Revenant is the big movie from Fox, the Inarritu. So you got to have Revenant. That's the one that's leading the Gold Derby polls.
And I saw that, and it was doing really well at AwardsWatch too. And right now, Joy is pretty far out ahead in like picture and director and actress, and it's kind of all in for that. But I think the Revenant thing has been a lot of worry about if it's going to be even finished in time. It just wrapped yesterday after its reshoots. And, if there's going to be any type of backlash from the behind-the-scenes drama between Inarritu and Tom Hardy, which I doubt, but it seems like it's it seems like it's going to be a race to the finish for it.
We'll see how that plays out. I mean, look, the actors didn't like, the actors did, there are a lot of actors who don't like James Cameron, and there are a lot of actors who don't like Michael Mann, and there are a lot of actors who weren't that thrilled working with David O. Russell. But boy, they were happy when the movies came out.
Exactly. We've talked about that a lot on our boards about how David O. Russell is and how notorious, and I always think, yeah, but he also gets Oscar nominations, so if you can withstand a couple of months of berating, it might be worth it. I'm also looking forward to Tom Hardy in Legend, and obviously Weinstein Co. is banking on Carol with their Cannes movie from Todd Haynes. Yeah, that's definitely their horse.
And then A24 has Room, which could be promising, with Brie Larson and Joan Allen. That one I'm looking forward to.
I know a lot of people are pretty bullish on that. Tasha Stone is really bullish on Larson getting in, and it's interesting because Room of the movies that A24 has this year, everything's already come out except for Room. That's the
last one. And then we have Spotlight from Open Road, which Tom McCarthy's film with a great cast led by Michael Keaton and Mark Ruffalo. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, see, that's something that seems I'm so hard to peg on that. It's going to get a good festival run too. It's got a really good release date. It's got a great cast. Michael Keaton's just coming off of his first Oscar nomination. I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on this movie, and I hope there is.
I think so. I mean, I'm looking forward. If in fact it has the goods, the people at Open Road, Tom Ortenberg knows how to play the game, so it's not that far. And then Bleecker might have something with Trumbo, which is Hal Roach's movie with Bryan Cranston in the role of the blacklisted screenwriter.
Yeah, the people that I had at one of the test screenings were kind of mixed on it as a movie. He's really great, the performance is really good, but the movie was a bit of a mixed bag. But that's kind of the whole point of a test screening, is that you tweak and change things until you get to something that you're ready to release.
All right. Well, I think we got the main points across here.
I think so. I think we did too. Again, Anne, I'm so honored and so happy to have been able to chat with you on our podcast today.
It was a pleasure.
Right on. All right. Well, everybody, please make sure and follow Anne on Twitter. It's at AK Stanwyck, at Thompson on Hollywood, at IndieWire. She's awesome. She's one of the best voices in this business right now, and I just love her.
You're too kind. Thank you.
Okay. And don't forget to follow us at awards_watch, and go to awardswatch.com. Check out the Gold Rush Gang's constantly updated predictions. We're at the end of August right now, so next week we'll be locking them in for a little while. And then we'll get post-festival, and things will really change. So, thank you everybody for listening, and see you later.